it's definitely strange when you dedicate so much time, and even when you're not dedicating time, it's still on your mind. So it is strange that once it's done, it's kind of like, what do I do with myself now? But it's a good feeling at the same time.
Let's welcome our next guest who just recently passed the CPA exam.
Hello, my name is Joshua Harris. I am currently a auditor at a public accounting firm in Los Angeles, California. I am originally from Massachusetts and went to school in Massachusetts as well at Northeastern University.
How did you stay focused and maintain the drive and self-discipline to pass this exam?
That's a good question. I would say I stayed focused. I think it was easier to stay focused once I had a routine down. I am a night owl, so I would study after work. So I had a calf. I had a calf that I would go to. So I'd literally after work I'd maybe go to the gym for about an hour. If I didn't go to the gym, I might do something just to you know decompress from the day, and then I'd immediately go to the calf, or I'd immediately go to like a coffee shop and kind of just lock in and study for 3-4 hours, and it was a routine. So I knew at the end of my workday I'm gonna do this. So it's much easier to do it. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I think I just had to tell myself that if I told myself if I sacrificed the free time I had now, the sooner I'd be able to enjoy the free time in the future, right? Because if you're kind of halfway in, not really taking it seriously, you're only going to extend the amount of time it's going to take for you to pass this type of exam. And no one wants to spend months or years studying continuously something that takes up your free time and just adds a lot of stress to your day-to-day activity. Yeah, I mean, and I would say, just keep in mind, you want to get certified, so that should be motivation within itself. And then two, you don't want the work you've been doing to be a waste. So the best way you can make sure that you're not wasting your time studying is to make sure you see it through and accomplish the goal you set for yourself.
What were your top CPA exam study preparation mistakes?
That's a good question. I would say my biggest exam prep mistakes were sometimes getting too caught up on very specific things. Like if it was a very specific, like this situation only happens like 10% of the time for this account, and it has to be these types of circumstances for it to happen. Um, I think I had originally spent a lot of time on those types of questions to try to make sure I understood it, when the likelihood of that being asked on an exam is just not that likely. I think you kind of have to, at that point, understand the probability of questions and understand, okay, even if they did ask it, is one question versus a whole exam. So it's best that you understand everything, maybe not as in depth as you would like, versus knowing one topic really, really well, and then you don't see it on the exam, and you're like, what the heck? So I would say that was probably my first. My second, in terms of exam prep, or even during taking the exam, I would say my first mistake was I didn't pay attention to the clock. Um, I didn't take advantage of the time stoppage break, which is I would recommend everyone take it, even if you're not using the bathroom or getting a fresh air. Just take it just to kind of breathe a little bit and gather yourself before you go back in for the second half of the test. Um, and again, just don't get hung up on that one question. If you don't know it, just answer it to the best of your ability and forget about it, because you have a whole exam in front of you. You have to make sure you pass. And the third thing in terms of mistakes with exam prep, um, I would say while you should be dedicated to your studies, make sure you're still taking time to do activities that like help you, relieve stress or spend time with family and friends. Not saying you have to go out every weekend or you should be sacrificing studying time to be social, but hanging out with somebody for an hour or two, or even just taking a day off, isn't gonna ruin your studying schedule completely. And you'd be surprised how much better you feel when you get back to studying after you've been able to kind of just relax and clear your head and just enjoy some free time doing what you like to do.
And what advice would you like to share?
I would say to everybody currently studying and in the future will be studying for an exam is to craft a effective study schedule that works for you, an effective study schedule that is realistic, one that is gonna make you the most prepared you'll be on test day, and just have confidence in your learning abilities and what you're capable of. I think everybody that is eligible to take the CPA exam has seen and experienced many of success in their academic career, even to just get eligible to sit for the exam. So I would say have confidence in your abilities with what brought you here, and then just execute and get it done. One more thing. I would say from experience, I hesitated to take the exam because I was very afraid. And I think the myth of the CPA exam kind of intimidated me a lot. But I would say for folks that are um, having those same types of feelings in terms of just the sheer uh, weight of studying and taking 4 exams and possibly having to take 18 months just to get it done, if not longer, I would say just start the journey. And then, once you work as hard as possible, before you know it, it will end. And once it's over, you'll be really glad that you conquered it. And I think a lot of your preconceived fears you would have realized are just fears itself, and not something that was actually impossible for you to do. And if I had to give someone tips on how the test was, the accounting knowledge within itself it's not the hardest stuff in the world. I think it's the timing that they only give you uh, a, a, a restricted amount of time to do it. Um, that's a long time to take an exam with no hiccups, or if you have a brain freeze or like writer's block, you kind of have to be flawless for a long period of time. And that's just the exam itself. You also have to be close to flawless in your studying leading up to the exam, because if some life event disrupts that, that's gonna mess up your test when you try to take it in a month. So I think the planning for it might be the hardest thing, and making sure you just one have the free time and just hope that nothing comes up, whether it's work or personal life, that can derail you from this test day. And then when it's the test day, it's that whole process of waking up, getting there early enough, having to, sit in the testing center and kind of try to run through things without psyching yourself out. So I think just the whole process of from start to finish is just very tough to see. It can be very tough to see it through. Well, there's only so much time you have, right? I feel like, at least for me, no matter what study plan I had, I always seemed to just run out of time, whether it was work, was a little bit later than I had expected, or, the hour break I told myself I was going to give myself turned into 2 hours, and just having to adjust. And again, yeah, try to cover as much material as possible, but definitely don't fry your brain to the point where it's test day and you blank out. Once you get started with something, just see it through, for the very simple fact that you've already dedicated a lot of time to it. Now you might as well get the reward for doing it. You can start hanging out with friends and enjoying your free time without having that thought of I should be studying in the back of your head. It's a great feeling when you learn you passed that last exam, and all your hard work has finally translated to what you set that goal you set the first day you started signing up and getting all your documents ready to be eligible for the exam. So accounting careers for for not having a CPA. I was just trying to see like what's it gonna look like for me if I don't do this. Um, but I would recommend anyone in this field to take the time and just you know dedicate it and get it done, and then you're set for life. And if I could do it, then you all could get it done. Trust me.